notes from my May 2024 reading of Kamala Harris by Erinn Banting. So thus far for 2024, I have a book in the 100 to 199 page like length range. I have a bunch in the 200 to 299 page range, and then I have one in the 300 plus, or 300 to 399 page range. So I was like, I should fill in the bottom of that, right? The 0 to 99 page. So I got a JB juvenile biography on Kamala Harris, which is also a way of saying it's a children's book, but like it might be a little bit high content for a child. So JB, so like juvenile. It's the call number system. And it was 24 pages, and I read the whole thing today. And so it is a biography on politician Kamala Harris. And so Kamala Harris by Erinn Banting, 2023 of Lightbox Learning Inc. edition hardcover. Okay. So I start and finish the book today. It's 24 pages, so I got my book in the 0 to 99 page range. The pages actually, depending on, there's visuals and stuff, so like, it's like it took me longer to read than I thought it would take me to read. There we go. Okay, so book notes including construction and design. It looks like this is part of the person who's done a number of these books, or the publisher or something. So they call it History Makers Past and Present. And so that's communicated. This is the only one of the stuff that I read. The visuals are... My sticky notes are falling out. So there's pictures, there's text. It's a very colorful book. I think in terms of actually reading it, the flow on the page, like the pictures didn't necessarily match the content on the page. And it wasn't clear, should I read the photo captions before I read the text on the page? Or like that kind of thing. Which is like, as a 31-year-old born approximately in 1993, I go, you know, yes, okay. It's a hardcover that was a little stiff. I don't know if that means it just hasn't been checked out that much or what. I'm filming this Thursday, 30 May 2024, so I read this all today. Yeah. So there was a diversity of formatting per page. I'm not going to actually show it all because I don't want, so it's not my work. So it's like, it very much appears to be the kind of book designed with like a visual or like kind of visual journey. And so I don't want to like take away from the author's work kind of thing. But there was a variety of different, like, there's timelines, there's keywords, there's bold words, and some of it is just, okay. Anyway, point being, I think perhaps the lack of repetition, or perhaps the right word is a lack of consistency in formatting page to page was kind of, it made the book come across as a little austere and standoffish as opposed to friendly. Right, and that's not Kamala Harris. Or, that'll be by my reading notes. It's the author, right? The author's part of it. Okay, so those book notes. Reading notes. Kamala Harris is currently, as of filming this, the vice president, but a vice president in the grand scheme of things, currently serving the United States of America, and the only female to be president and or vice president. Okay. And here they point out her mother was from India, of Indian ancestry, like the country of India in Asia. And her dad was from Jamaica, but his ancestors were from Africa. So African by way of Jamaica, and to America by way of Jamaica. Okay. All right. So there we go. They bring up that her parents had 2 daughters. And as somebody who is in a family with 2 daughters, so there's me and my older sister, Lindsay, they bring up her sister, but they don't actually ever say if Kamala was the younger or the older daughter. I feel like it kind of comes across as being a little bit racist in the sense of like, I'm reading this and going, you know, if you put younger or older people go, oh, she's like me, or she's like my sister, isn't that cool? Then I'm like the other person, you know, kind of thing. So they kind of, while I like the information about Kamala Harris, I also, as somebody who's read stuff for, you know, people who are not Indian, not Asian, not African, you know, like those details are included, right? So is it racist that was not included to keep people from actually connecting on some basic, okay, so you're like my sister, or you're like me in this very narrowed sense, right? Another one, I attended the University of California, Berkeley for over 4 years at graduate school, and they actually say in here, University of California, Hastings College of the Law. There is more than one campus for the University of California. And so that was one where I was like, you know what? Because I already got like I'm going to call that like a racism, potentially racism flag, right? They're doing it. It's like the kind of information that's left off just because they don't like the person and the person's race, right? So it's like picking on them, whereas the corresponding information for somebody who's different might be included, right? But that doesn't mean like it doesn't mean it's a smoking gun on them being racist. But like I literally sticky marked it, being like, I don't like this author. Oh, and then another one, the typical Republican, bad Republican, right? They're good Republicans, right? Half my family is Republican, half my family is Democrat, so I get along with both sides. But this is one from bad Republicans. Bad Republicans tend to frame Americans, or the United States of America, as a democracy, to frame it as the Democrats being prejudiced against Republicans. And they actually do that on page 12 of the United States is a democracy, which is in fact wrong. And the basic structure that proves this not the democracy is, well, our votes do not, right? There's an electoral college. It does not count my vote. There are representatives. And then the structure, right, the proper term for the United States of America, the government structure, is a democratic republic. And perhaps the best structure to point that out is, if one wants to like blur the lines and try to confuse you with democracy, is something called Congress, which has Senate and House of Representatives. And a democracy is everybody gets like equal say. The Senate is more of like the republic kind of thing, and so is the House of Representatives, but a little bit less so. The Senate is each state gets 2, no matter the population, right? And I thought that was extremely a slap in the face to the subject of this book, Kamala Harris, because Kamala Harris was a senator, and I was just like, you know, this author is either extremely discriminatory or just really not very bright or intelligent. Right? We learned that in elementary school in this country. I went to elementary school in the United States of America. We learned that in elementary school. So maybe the person didn't even go to elementary school. I don't know. But yeah, and so that's what I flagged that on 12, and then on 18 as well. I was like, you realize she was a senator, right? Okay. And then it brings up that she's married and has stepchildren, but she does not have children of her own, biologically, at least per this book. And that's I've encountered that before, and then that's consistent with the information provided in this book. But her sister does have a daughter, so she has a niece. Okay, and so I'm like, see, she's like, if one wants to say that people like it happened like the way it should happen, like, I don't have human children. Oh, also a fun okay, before I go into that, like, she's a revolutionary in that one very, very strong way. And like, they can't take that back, that she doesn't have children. That's too good. That's like real womankind progress and humankind progress. Okay. It says in here she was born in 1964. I was born approximately in 1993, and it's 2024. She's approximately double my age. Okay, Just sort of. And then revolutionary. She doesn't have kids. You realize, how did America get it that right? That the first woman as president and or vice president does not have children of their own. To say that a woman is worthy and they do not have to be reproducing, right? A woman is not synonymous with only with worth defined based on reproduction. I was like, it's like one of those things in history that you're like, that's like everybody, right? I'm like, that's so cool to have somebody like me in that very, I do not have human children and I'm a woman, right? To be like told that we are worthy, and not only are we worthy, but we're first in that sense, right? The woman does not have children. So it's pretty cool. Now, takeaway. Is she going to become the first president and or vice president to make their primary social media platform YouTube? And so if she did, would our makeup be befriending Kamala Harris playlist? And then if she did, like, if I did a playlist description, if I bring somebody who onto this channel and they start being in video, say, should I go in and put like in the playlist description, a description about the person so they're not confused with anybody else with the same name? So it'd be like, Kamala Harris, she, her, hers, of Oakland, California, or what would she want, right? Does she get a say? And then do I do has a sister, right? That kind of thing. Do I do that for each of the people? It would like, and then do I take a video with the person, and then between taking the video and putting it on my YouTube channel, do I put that information in the playlist description so YouTube has like some advanced notice in textual form, like to communicate, no, we don't like this, we're gonna be like, no to your playlist, or that kind of stuff, right? Yeah, because like, and then maybe she does that, and maybe she becomes like, yeah, a really big, there's not really a politician who's like really centered in on YouTube, and I was like, maybe she joins us. I don't know. Okay, I thought about that. Oh, and Simone Biles brought up, is kind of tangentially related because I was like, I've been reading a lot of biography. Simone Biles brings up YouTube in her autobiography, and so does Molly Blue brings up YouTube in her autobiography. It's an autobiography / memoir for both. And I was like, it wasn't brought up in this biography but for all we know, she's YouTube reliant already. Whoa, I don't know. Okay, those are my notes from my May 2024 reading of Kamala Harris by Erinn Banting, and we finally got a 2023 biography or autobiography. Oh yeah.